Hi, and welcome to another episode of the Pivot Series. You know how you've heard about a personal stylist, hair stylist, all kinds of stylists. Bet you never heard about a plant stylist, because I didn't either. I was like, is this a thing? Oh, it's a thing. And we're going to find out exactly who this thing involves today on the Pivot Series. I want to introduce you to Crystal Benidict, who even admits she had to Google what it is she actually did. And Plant Stylist is exactly who she is and what she does. How are you, Crystal?
I'm great. How are you?
Fantastic. Great to meet you. Well, before we get into the plant styling, because I'm intrigued, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I got into gardening, I would say maybe like 8 or 9 years ago, and it was rough. I killed so many plants. Gave up many times, and jumped back on the bandwagon a few more times, and somehow it worked.
Well, you said like 8 years ago, but somehow in my head I pictured you as a little girl going to school with a little water bucket and some topsoil in your pocket just in case you saw a plant to revive. But I guess not, huh?
No, I got it about 8 years ago, but I was struggling with gardening shamefully for years and years, but I got it. I got it about 8 years ago.
All right. So what was life like growing up with you?
Well, simple. I went to the primary school, which is nice, school repping, all phase. And I lived in a village, and everybody had a little garden because it was mostly chattel houses. So, you got like bright colors, and then you got beautiful garden and all the different types of flowers and stuff. And I always wanted a chattel. I mean, up to now, with all these modern homes and stuff, I still would like a house model chattel house and an amazing garden. So that was always a dream from a small child. And we had a nice garden growing up. We weren't wealthy or anything, but we had a really nice garden that was built around cuttings. Because I think back then, there wasn't much money to just go out plant shopping. I think most of the gardens in the village were derived from cuttings. You get a piece from this person, you take it home. Yeah, you put it down.
Someone left something on your veranda. Yes.
Or you just walk around breaking off pieces, and you bring it home. So yeah, that was pretty much it for me growing up.
And that's pretty ingenious if you ask me. Next thing you have this whole oasis full of cuttings that have grown into a garden.
Yes, beautiful garden.
Wonderful stuff. Now, most of us, by the time we get about 15, 16, we start to think about the future. Where am I going? So what did your future look like when you were 16?
It did not look green. I can tell you that. Actually, when I was about 16, I should say when I was like 14 or so, into dentistry, would always watch these little videos and stuff. So my mom and dad were like, one minute I would say I want to do this, and then I want to do that. And when I finished school, a friend of my dad's, it was a friend of my dad's, was like, look, let's do a little internship at this dental office. See how it goes. There's this short class, it's happening. Just check it out. And I really wanted to be a dentist. I was dreaming about teeth. But after doing the course and everything, and then doing my internship, I barely managed to get through. I barely managed to have enough hours because I was done.
Wow.
Yeah, I was done. I was like, I don't ever want to see people done besides in my own mouth. I was just so done. And from there, I left with some friends and went sailing for a few years. And I sailed all through the Caribbean, countless island hopping and blah, 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 blah. I decided, I want to be a sailor. So I came home. I figured, what? I think I'll become a captain. And I roped my sister into this dream as well. And she went on to become a captain. But once again, the dream changed. I figured I won't be a boat captain anymore. After about 2 years of sailing, did photography, shot a lot of celebrities, worked with a lot of famous people and interesting people, and then started gardening heavily in between. And somehow, I always came back to the gardening. Somehow I was like, I look forward to getting home to look at my plants, and I didn't look forward to going to work and leaving my plants. And it kind of grew, like gardening kind of grew on me. I look forward to it every day, and I really love it. So,
well, if we do the mental math now, 8 years, we haven't flaked yet.
No,
we could be on to something.
Back to it.
Do It for Grantley is a production of Fortress Fund Managers. You can listen to all our episodes in all the good places podcasts are available, including SoundCloud, Google, and Apple Podcasts, or on our website, fortressfund.com.
So what made you decide, if that's in fact what you did, what made you decide to put my eggs into a plant basket?
About 2 years ago, now, I figured, I was still doing photography, but I figured, you know what, I am going to focus on what I love, like doing things that I love. See if I can make a business of it. I think a lot of people in 2019 were like, this is my year.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm going to do that. No, I was one of those people.
Yeah.
2019 was one of the worst years of most people's lives. We thought so until 2020 rolled
I was
around.
about to say, looking back, it was not bad.
Everybody thought 2019 was bad, but 2020, you'll do yourself. So I decided, I would do all these things I love and try to make a business of them as I was working. And gardening was one, because whenever I post on my Instagram page, or or someone visits the home and they see plants, they always be like, I want that plant or whatever. Could you sell me this plant? And I don't like to sell my plants. I don't sell my personal plants. So I'd always then have to go out and try to find one, and then find a pot that would match or would suit their decor and put it together, and then I'd sell them that. So a freestyle plant, that's what I would call them. And that kind of took off, because then that person recommended me to someone else, and then someone else, and then the house calls started happening where people would be like, listen, this plant at my house is dying, or these plants dying, could you take a look? And I'd be like, okay. And that is how it started.
Wow, you're making house calls now to see what's wrong with the patient. When last was it green?
What have you done wrong?
What did you do? Well, so I guess I marvel, because it might be a stereotype, but anytime I think of somebody can't wait to get in their garden, they're always retired because they have time to garden. I feel like I don't have time to garden, but you're at home thinking about gardening, you're away from your plants, you're thinking about gardening.
Yep.
Right,
but a lot of millennials are just like this.
You need to walk me through this.
Yeah, listen, I thought at first, don't get me wrong, I was an out girl. I used to be out, I used to have a great time, I used to look forward to the parties. But somehow, as times changed, I just started to pull away from that and started enjoying, my space and my alone time. And it's not that, you don't have time for gardening, because sometimes it would be so dark and I have on every light I have and I out there picking and pruning, and there's always something to do. I guess that's why the, retired people always go to gardening, because even though you came out yesterday and the day before, leaves fell overnight,
something happened.
Flower opened,
look at that.
Caterpillars on your plant. There's always something to do, so it keeps you busy and it keeps you from outside. But as I was saying, lots of millennials are into gardening now. They're like, everybody has a plant page and everybody has a plant at home, and a pretty pot, and listen, these people are breathing over them. Okay, so here's a new leaf.
Oh my
Every time you go on Instagram, this is a new leaf, and look guys, look what's happening. And so it's not just me. People are really, really into it now, and I guess due to the lockdown, a lot of people were forced to stay at home.
Yeah.
And now they want home to be a little nicer, a little greener, and the plants came into play heavily.
Millennials, I misjudged you. I'm sorry.
Yes.
So now we've got some greenery going on, but the fact that people will literally pick up a phone and call you and say, hey, Crystal, I'm having some issues here. Or, for instance, I'm redoing this room. And you're thinking plants. Now, I'm thinking throw cushions and blankets and maybe a bookcase. The plant is usually, for me, the last thing on my mind, but apparently for a lot of other people, it's the first thing that goes in.
Yeah. It's one of the cheaper ways to change a room drastically and make an impact, not just aesthetically, but for your own physical well-being. Because most of the plants I have around my house are air purifiers. They're easy to take care of, most of them, and beautiful to look at. Now, usually it'd be like, if you want to do like a quick, cheap change, you change your throw cushion.
Yeah.
Or just change your drapes, and that's, solid impact. If you're doing it in the kitchen, you really float the backsplash, you put something else, or you paint the cupboard.
Yeah.
But when you're feeling for something more than the aesthetic, that's when the plant comes in. When you want to care for something and nurture it, because plants grow and you grow along with them. have it in space. It looks beautiful. You get excited whenever you see a new leaf. You can't believe you haven't killed this
Can't
thing.
believe this thing is not dead.
You like,
that's how I start.
it.
It's like it's breathing, y'all.
Yes. So this is like, to me, it's like more of an investment, physically, mentally, and aesthetically. So, yeah.
Yeah, like watching a baby grow.
Yes.
Like watching a baby grow.
Without
Look at this.
Pampers and noise.
Without
Yes.
that, because they're very, very quiet, I must tell you. So here you are, and all of a sudden now you are, what you have discovered was a plant stylist, because you didn't actually know what it is you were technically doing.
No, when I decided, okay, you're going to make a business of this, I was like, what are you going to say? Gardener that comes to your home, like, what am I going to say?
Because what's the difference between a plant stylist and, say, a landscape?
Landscapers are amazing. Landscapers are magical. Because as a gardener, a plant stylist, I deal with plants within containers. So because they're contained, I can manipulate like various elements, like soil, the amount of water it gets, the medium, like everything. But a landscaper, there's so many variables, like the heat, the earth, animal digging. You got insects that flying from all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, a contained plant. This is inside. I can control this. This is easy. And then landscaping too. You got like the highs and the lower the plants. What's going to grow big? What's going to stay small?
You want a hedge? Do you want some
exactly? What needs more water? Less water? What works best for this client and their environment? That is different. That's hard work.
That is hard work.
That makes what I do seem very. So hats off to landscapers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we still need you, because I spend most of my time inside.
Yes. Inside a patio, if you got something in a container, you call me.
Yeah, that's what I want to do. So now that you've figured out what to call yourself, how do you market yourself?
That's just it. I never really had to do heavy marketing. I recently just started running ads on Instagram. But by just posting my plants online, and stuff, people just randomly started messaging, hey, I need help with this, and all these pictures would come in. What's going on here? How did this happen? What should I do for this? Can you come and look at that? I need some help. So pretty much took off like that. That's why I created a website. You could email me and it would free up a little more space in my inbox.
True. Yeah, because I could imagine that once one starts and people are like, oh my gosh, I love your plant, where'd you get it? Well, I met this wonderful woman in Bristol.
Yeah.
And next thing. So this actually has taken you into some pretty magnificent homes.
Yes, it has. And I have enjoyed all of them. Yeah, it's funny. Even if you've got $1 million, you might still need somebody to come in and take care of your plants. From $1 million to $0. I do consultations, like consultations and stuff, even if you've just had your house built and decorated by whoever. I am, for most of those people, the last step. Like after the decor is completed, I come in and I say, okay, so this is what it is. I, gauge the aesthetic and stuff, and then I decide what plant looks best here, there, whatever. And then I still have to go through a process of elimination to see what lighting conditions suit which of these plants. So it's not just putting any plant anywhere where it looks good. It has to thrive in that space as well without stressing the owner out.
Without stressing the owner out.
Yes.
Because you see these thumbs? Not green.
It's easy.
They want to be,
right plant.
but they're not.
Yeah. Like even a consultation is like an interview process. It's like, I come by, as I said, I take in your aesthetic, I take in your lighting conditions, and then I sit and I have a chat with you. Like, how much time do you have? How interested are you? Like, what's your experience with plants? And while I'm speaking with you, I'm just eliminating things. Okay, come back, taking things off that list.
Right.
Yeah, so that when I do, find this plant and I put it in your home, it's easy for you. So it doesn't die quickly and you don't feel like a failure and feel like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Right.
Yeah, so, I do that interview process of elimination, and I choose what would best suit you, your lighting conditions, and your aesthetic of your house.
This is the Pivot series, and we are having the most amazing discussion right now, completely mind-blowing, with Crystal Benidict, and we are talking all kinds of greenery because she's a plant stylist, which means she will literally come to you, look at your home, look at your aesthetic, look at your light giving, and say, hey, I've got the perfect light, the perfect location, the perfect plant just for you, and I'm going to make it easy for you.
Do It for Grantley is a production of Fortress Funds Managers. You can listen to all our episodes in all the good places podcasts are available, including SoundCloud, Google, and Apple Podcasts, or on our website, fortressfund.com.
Crystal has invited me back so I can watch her repot some plants so they don't just survive, they thrive. Crystal, how are you?
See you again.
Good to see you, looking like a full flower. So what do we have here?
3 different types of plants here. This is a Philodendron Brazil. This is a variety of Sansevieria. This is very, very easy to take care of, and it requires minimal light. So this is great. And this is within the Monstera family. It's an arrowlight. This is a Pinata Partita. And these 3 plants, although they could survive if you use a standard potting mix, you could pick up any mix and pot each of these in it, and it would survive. But there's a huge difference between surviving and thriving.
Like life.
This gonna work a little harder because if you put them in a standard potting medium, you know, you may have to water a little less for some,
Right.
water a little more for others.
Right.
Yes, but if you tailor the mix specifically, that eliminates half of the work.
Okay, well, let's do it the right way first then.
Yes.
So we've got our scoop and we've got our gloves and our trusty bowl for some potting mix.
Right.
And let's look at the texture of that, because this here, I'm going to bring it around to show you guys all kinds of things. You know what? It looks like Mother Earth in a bag. That's what it looks like. Okay, so what are we scooping into
so
where?
you take one scoop, you put it on here.
Oh, it's like a mixing bowl.
I was just about to say, like,
Oh my
maybe
gosh.
right?
Okay.
Put
Want some
another
more?
one.
Okay.
So if we were tailoring a mix for this Philodendron Brazil, I would have those 2 scoops, and then I would put a handful of perlite.
Oh.
But if you are a first-time gardener, some more perlite.
The more the better. Okay.
Yes.
But you don't want to overdo it.
I wonder if you could overdo
Could
it.
ya?
Perlite. Not really. Not as a first-timer.
Okay.
Because as I said before, first-timers like to nurture, so they're always there trying to
We
water.
do.
Yes,
We're very,
we do.
very careful
So
about
the
this
more
stuff.
perlite, the better.
Okay.
Because this means the less water that'll be retained in the soil.
Ah.
Well, potting mix. So this is how, if I was a first timer.
This scoop I'm loving too.
Let's see. Some more. Actually, you tell me that you think you would stop.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm gonna dump the whole bowl in, but that's just me.
I would have dumped the whole bowl in too.
Well, then I'm gonna
You are
do
correct.
what the professionals say. That's what I'm gonna do. There we go.
Yeah, so I would usually stir this up. Got perlite. I've got that potting mix. But, and this is just, you know, a little added kick. I would add horticultural charcoal. This kills all kinds of bacteria and fungus and stuff like that that might try to
Okay.
invade the soil.
Charcoal, because I know that charcoal is supposed to be very good for the human body. as well.
Yes.
This is the stuff they don't tell you. But I'm sure if you visit any nursery or call Crystal Benidict, she can tell you exactly what you need and why. And she assures me that having plants makes you a plant parent, and just like you would for your children, you'll start to do research on what works. But so far, this is working.
So we're gonna take him out of here. Just gonna loosen up this potting mix a bit. Does not look great. Remove any leaves that look like they are damaged.
Oh dear. Well, I guess it happens from time to time. And the other thing is, how do you know what's damaged from what's dormant?
Well, you could do squeeze tests, like say one of these. There's like that there. Come down till you feel like going flat.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that is gone.
Okay.
Yeah, as long as it's flat or looking gray or looking kind of white,
right? Okay.
then you know it's gone.
So we can take this bad boy here.
After you get a waist, you just keep resting here to test him and see how high up you would like to put him.
Okay.
Now, if you look at him, he's arching going this way. Now, instinctively, you know, you want to put him center, dead center in your pot.
Okay.
But let's do him like this, all the way to this end.
Mm-hmm.
So then hopefully, you know, when these aerial roots come in, they touch bottom and just snag onto the medium.
All this bark and fiber. I'm going to actually use my hands here a little bit to kind of get some potting mix into this little scoop.
And over there.
And over here, we got to fill in these holes. Do we pat as we go, or do you just kind of let it
You
fall?
could. Actually, that's another reason why this point is there. You could use
Yeah.
that to kind of tuck it into those corners.
Yeah, because I know it doesn't like compact soil, but I just thought, maybe if we tuck it in a little bit. Well, look at that, standing up by itself.
Looking good. Give you 5 stars.
Now that I got 5 stars.
Yes.
So we have successfully repotted a mini monstera, and that is going to go to one of you pivoters. All you have to do is follow us on Instagram to find out how you can be the proud plant parent of this mini monstera. You have been enjoying this segment, I know you have, and what you really need to do is to follow Crystal Benidict on Instagram. Look for Plant Parents. She'll pop right up. Click follow, and your life will never be the same. Thanks so much for coming on board for another Pivot series. You know we have more where this came from.